Off camera, I edited my test plan, adding some additional cases and editing the output. And I also made some minor changes to my code. When I tested, I noticed that the error label was too long, so I made the font size a bit smaller. I've added in the minimum temperature to my error message. And right now in my converting function, I'm configuring the answer so that it says what temperature is being converted from centigrade to Fahrenheit or Fahrenheit to centigrade. And here's what happens. If I have an error, we can see that error message is much smaller. And if I have something valid, the text becomes slightly bigger. And of course, the color still changes. And of course, once we've completed a component, we go back to our Kanban board. And next on the list is to actually do the conversion between centigrade and Fahrenheit. And we also want to round our answer and display it correctly. I started by developing my test plan for the rounding component. And I ended up having to do some trialing because the first thing that I tried rounded 0.5 to 0 instead of rounding it to 1. So I did some research and could then show that by my third trial, I had some beautiful, simple code that rounded correctly. Once my rounding component was working, I could go ahead and convert between centigrade and Fahrenheit and centigrade and show that it worked using the test plan on your screen. And part of my testing ensured that making sure that the rounding was working correctly. So I've done some quick testing and documented it. Of course, once we've got our converter program working, we'll want to put it into our conversion component and then check that the entire component works as expected. Your next step is to create a text program called conversion rounding, and it's going to have 3 functions, which I've made and collapsed. In the testing area, I've used my test plan and created a list of the numbers that I'm wanting to convert to centigrade, and another list of the numbers I'm wanting to convert to Fahrenheit. We can run each of the temperatures in our lists through the function to confirm that it works as expected. So let's have a quick look at those functions. When I started creating the docstring in Python, it suggested I put in the parameter value and return value. So I put those descriptions in, and that's how you can round correctly to 0 dP. To convert to Celsius, we start with our detailed docstring, we do some math to find the answer, and we round the answer using our rounding function, and then we return that answer. As you've probably guessed, our function for Fahrenheit is really similar. The big difference is, of course, the math that we do. And of course, when I run my code, it matches my test plan, and I can confirm that the math and the rounding is working correctly. In the next video, we're going to take this text component and add it into our conversion GUI.